It's time for another episode of Let's Talk Construction, featuring interviews with industry professionals, economic development representatives, and association leaders. Let's Talk Construction is part of the Let's Talk Business South Carolina network of B2B talk shows and brought to you by Groundbreak Carolinas, providing relevant news and resources for leaders in the AEC industries. And now, coming to you from the Drum Creative Studio, here's your host, longtime South Carolina business publisher, Rick Jenkins.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Let's Talk Construction, coming to you from the Drum Creative Studios. I'm your host, Rick Jenkins. This show is part of the Let's Talk Business South Carolina network of B2B talk shows, and all episodes will air on that show's YouTube channel and will be available for download on most popular podcast platforms. On each episode, I'll be talking to prominent leaders about trending topics of importance within the AEC industries, of course, architecture, engineering, and construction. Let's Talk Construction is produced in conjunction with Groundbreak Carolinas. If you're affiliated with the AEC industries in any way, you can go to their website to get plenty of news, insights, and resources to do your jobs more efficiently and effectively. Today, we'll be talking about workforce development challenges in the construction industry and what needs to be done to convince young people to choose the industry as a career path. And here to help me with that conversation is Chris Moore. Chris is the longtime president of Carolina Power. He's been there about 25 years. Chris, welcome to the studio.
Thanks, Rick. Glad to be here.
It is good to have you, man. I haven't met you until you came into the studio earlier today, and so it's a pleasure. I've heard about you. I've known about you for many, many years, so it's good to finally get a little chance to sit down and talk.
Well, thank you for letting me be here.
You are welcome. We are going to talk about workforce challenges. You know, workforce challenges are huge in every industry. I mean, in South Carolina, we know a little bit about manufacturing, hence we know a little bit about workforce challenges, right?
Yeah.
But the construction industry is no exception to that rule. And so we're going to talk all about workforce challenges, and you are really involved in that, and I look forward to that. But before we get into that, I want to talk about you for a second.
Okay.
If I remember right, you were born and raised somewhere in the Atlanta area, correct?
A little bit north of Atlanta in a small, I was born in Atlanta, but shortly after I was born, I moved to Toccoa, Georgia, just right across the South Carolina-Georgia line.
And that has to be a small place.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It was a great place to grow up.
Right.
And then high school graduation, moved back to Atlanta to go to Georgia Tech, and spent several years there while I was in Atlanta, connected with our Georgia operation, Metro Power, which is one of our four companies that our parent company, PPC Partners, owns, and co-opted with them while I was in college, and shortly after graduation had an opportunity to come back this way and open up our office here in Greenville.
Now, that was about 25 years ago.
Was?
And so it was Metro Power, right? Is Carolina Power, are they a subsidiary of Metro Power? What is that relationship?
The sister company, yes. So Carolina Power, we started out as a branch of Metro Power, and then a few years ago became one of four companies. So we moved out from under Metro Power, became our own corporation, and one of four companies owned by PPC Partners, Inc.
Does PPC Partners also own Metro Power now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you all are on that level field right under PPC. Correct. So 25 years ago, you moved to town as a young man. And what were you, 24, 25, right around there, right?
Yeah, 25.
And you opened the office, which was in Greer at the time, still in Greer.
Still in Greer.
Still in Greer, the same office you're in now that you opened 25 years ago. Have I got that right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
So my boss was kind of crazy to take a 25-year-old and just let him go nuts.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go next. I mean, how often does a 25-year-old get an opportunity like that? You must have shown them something that made them think that you could come down here and open an office and do big things with it.
Yeah, I think I was just stubborn enough. They didn't think I was going to get run off. It was fun. I think it was just a great scenario.
Right.
Growing up not too far from here. My wife actually grew up in Anderson. She and I met when we were in Atlanta. It was kind of coming home for her, getting close to home for me.
Yeah.
Our business had some industrial clients that we had shared, Georgia, Alabama, that had places here in the Carolinas, and we wanted to better serve them. As I think about the PPC philosophy, we want to have local offices so that we can provide folks with careers, do good work, engage in community, and that was the task set before me. So, Chris, you got 5 years experience, just go have at it.
That's right. You said the company PPC?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's the PPC mission that I stumbled across on the website, or if it is the Carolina Power mission that were written by Carolina Power, or maybe Chris Moore. All I do know is I love it. And on the website, the mission is listed as, let me make sure I got it right, the company is directed by Old Testament wisdom and Jesus' example. Where'd that come from?
So that came from our founder,
Yeah.
Richard Pieper,
Yeah.
which is the Pieper Partners.
Right.
And he wanted to answer, why we do business, how we do business. And so that talks about, servant leadership, character and values being at the core of the business.
I love it, and I'm glad I stumbled across that. Okay, so that's the personal side of Chris. What do you say we talk construction?
Sounds good.
All right. You just concluded your reign as chairman of ABC of the Carolinas.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
End of December, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so by the time this comes out, you're going to be a few weeks removed from that, but you're still very active with ABC, right?
Yeah, correct. So through our leadership process, I'll move to the immediate past chair role and be assisting our new chair as he takes over and move into a new year and
Right.
just provide some continuity there.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear for viewers who may not know, ABC is the Associated Builders and Contractors group. Now, and let's talk about them for a second, because on the website it says ABC is the voice of the merit shop in the construction industry, but the merit shop isn't necessarily a union shop, right? Define merit shop for me. What does that mean?
That we are awarded work, execute work based on merit, based on past performance, based on ability to perform, not some agreement.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, you have been a champion of workforce development a long time, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, before we get into the challenges of workforce, tell me a little bit about what that entails. What do you do? I know you were involved with it during your reign at ABC, but you're also involved in other things. Just tell me about that a little bit.
I love the construction industry. I grew up around it. My one granddad was a plumber. One was a Navy electrician, World War II. My dad was a superintendent. I grew up on a job site or out in the country. My stepdad, he was in the education field, and his curriculum was in the technical education side. So I guess that's where my passion comes from. I've just been on the job site.
Right. You've been involved with electrical apprenticeships as well. Is that through Greenville Tech?
It is. So when I came to town, we didn't have a apprenticeship really in place.
Right.
So we had the ABC Wheels of Learning, which was a remote study program, but nothing. So we got a few contractors together, established a group, decided that Greenville Tech would be a great way to provide the training piece, ABC provide the oversight, and then us local contractors administer the program. And so that collaborative effort has proven well for us.
You're also, and I'm reading this to make sure I get it right, you're on the Industry Advisory Board for Clemson's Construction Science and Management Program. It's a mouthful. And Construction Management Program also at the Citadel.
Yep.
How did the Citadel come about?
Citadel came about through Clemson. So
Yeah.
a gentleman I served on the Clemson board with started chairing the Citadel board and asked me to come down there and join.
Right. Okay. Well, you certainly have the background and the expertise to talk about these challenges. So let's get right to it. Labor shortages are a real concern in the construction industry. And I have talked to several folks in the industry that have been talking about it. And, I got to be honest, because I'm not overly involved in that industry, of course, it surprised me in the beginning that construction would suffer from that challenge, because I just thought there would be plenty of folks. Obviously, I'm wrong. Tell me where those openings are that industry is having trouble filling.
The openings are top to bottom.
Anywhere and everywhere.
Top to bottom, right. From the skilled trades, installing the products, to build the buildings, to build the facilities, to management, to professional services that support.
Right.
The opportunities within our industry are wide open.
The quit rates are high. So once you do get folks, you got to retain them.
We do.
And tell me about that, and why are people coming into the industry and leaving the industry?
I don't know that the quit rates are necessarily specific to the construction industry. I think we see a lot of turnover around other industries as well.
Mm-hmm.
People quit bosses. They don't quit jobs.
Right.
So I think
so
as we elevate the industry, we will we'll reduce that.
Yeah.
That quit
From
rate.
your perspective, it is no worse. The retention issues are no worse within that industry than, let's say, IT or advanced manufacturing.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The one thing that is unique, I believe, to us in the construction industry is historically we're not held in high regard as compared to other industries.
Right. A little bit of a stereotype you fight.
Yeah, we do. And personally, like I said, I've been around it my whole life. I believe that the construction industry is an honorable way to provide for family, to contribute to community, to build a career around. And it's not, just because we wear boots and get a little mud on us every now and then, that doesn't make us bad folks.
Right. Does the industry pay enough?
Absolutely, I think so. I think it's from my perspective a great way to again provide for a family, build a career, contribute back to the communities in which we operate. That's one of our philosophies, and I see that across our industry.
Right. I think sometimes, and excuse my ignorance here, but I think sometimes that people may, when they think of construction, may think of contracting work, a little hard labor, right? But there are so many other opportunities other than that. Of course, you've always got to have that, right? You've always got to have that. But in much the same way that I have told some of my friends in advanced manufacturing who have workforce challenges that this ain't your daddy's manufacturing anymore, I think it also applies a little bit in this industry because of the technological advances that have happened over the years. There are just different types of really good, high-paying jobs that people aren't aware of. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, and I think we're very similar to manufacturing, right? We are building a product with a process. Our plant just moves based on the job site.
That way. It's a good point.
And if you look at our mission statement, I think we do talk about manufacturing in that, because that's what it is. Every day we're trying to improve a process to reduce waste, to build a better product, and the products that we're building are more sophisticated every day. Somebody's got to build these plants. Somebody's got to build these hospitals, these data centers, highly technical facilities that required skilled workers to build them.
Right, and it's not just that you need workers. You just said it. You took the words out of my mouth. You need skilled workers, and I think that is probably the issue. You can find people to come in and do hard labor sometimes, but finding people to come in that also have the skills that match the technology that is used in this day and age isn't always simple. So how do you solve that? It's a good question, right?
Well, yeah, it starts at a young age.
Yeah.
We've got to get out there, middle school, even sometimes before middle school, and show the opportunities that are in the construction industry, because they're not just installing material, right? It's planning, it's managing, it's VDC, it's virtually building the building, it's tracking that, it is professional services that go along with it, legal, accounting, HR. There is so much involved. Now you've got AI involved. data analytics. We've got more numbers than Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Ton of opportunity.
That's right. And AI is rearing its I won't say ugly head, because there are great opportunities with AI, but then there are certain challenges. But it is rearing its head in every single industry, construction no different. Can you share a little bit about how AI is impacting the industry?
Well, I think it comes to the data analytics, right? We're productivity driven. We're productivity driven, and we always want to be looking ahead, not looking in the rearview mirror, but how can we better forecast our work? How can we better schedule our work? How can we take out those, make the process more lean, take out the waste, and that's where we see it.
Predictive analytics.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's talk about technology within the industry, because I think that gets at the heart of some of the workforce challenges. Not only, as we've been discussing, not only is it potentially the reason that you can't always get the skilled workers because they maybe aren't up to speed with things, but the technology itself isn't always easy to learn. I take that back. It's not that it's not easy to learn. It's that people aren't aware, I think, of how to go about learning it. Where do I go, right? Well, you go to Greenville Tech, you go to a tech school. But let's talk about that. And so I'm gonna throw out some technology to you, and I just want to get your response on it. Let's see where we go here. Let's start with smart apparel.
Okay.
Tell me how smart apparel is used on construction sites these days.
Safety and productivity.
Yeah.
So account.
Hard hats,
Glasses.
boots, not
Vests.
boots.
Vests with GPS.
Got it.
360 cameras. So you can walk job sites, then you can walk them virtually, then you compare them to your BIM model. You can track production, you can track obstacles in your way.
Keeping on that same topic, exoskeletons,
Okay.
right?
Reduce wear and tear on the body.
Yes. Exoskeletons, they've been around for a while, but they have picked up in technology. I have seen them demonstrated before on, either in person or in video. If you search, you go to YouTube and search, and you can see all kinds of
So
cool stuff.
we don't use those, but for those that do, it's intended to, again, be to improve safety on the job and reduce wear and tear on the installers.
Right. Drones.
Okay.
Drones have become popular in almost, in tons of industries. What do you get? How do you use them in construction? Flying overhead, pictures, video.
Pictures, documentation, inspection, power line inspection.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that.
It allows you to deal with some very rugged terrain.
Tell me about BIM. You mentioned it a minute ago. What is that? Building info modeling, right? Do I got that? Okay, tell me about BIM. What is that?
So it's creating a virtual image of a product that we're going to build.
Right.
So you are planning it digitally.
Yes.
So the advantage there is eliminated rework, clash detection. You're building it virtually.
Yeah.
And so it eliminates a lot of problems that used to be resolved in the field.
Yeah. Talk about building virtually. This was at a conference a few years back, and I can't remember where I was actually, but I remember putting on these goggles, and they would show, you were looking at a building that was being constructed, right? You're inside the building.
Yep.
And you've got your goggles on, and you're looking, and you see a door here and windows here. And so this virtual reality allows you as an architect or the person having it built, right, to say, you know what if we move that door over here, right? I don't like the way that looks. What if those windows were larger? What if they were horizontal instead of vertical? Whatever that is, right? I would assume that has taken off to some degree.
It has. Obviously, we're more involved on the constructability side than on the design side.
Right.
But anytime you can visualize, what used to be a 2D print, and visualize it, then it's going to help.
Right.
It's going to help from top to bottom, owner to construction team.
So I wanted to go through all that because my thought when I was thinking about our conversation, my thought was this. If when I was in high school, somebody had come to me, and of course couldn't even imagine these things, okay, when I was in high school. But if somebody had come to me and talked about all of these cool technological ways of doing business within the construction industry, I would have listened. My ears would have perked up. I would want to know more. And so now the question comes to, how do you take all of that cool info that you just shared with me about all of this great technology and make kids today, first of all, make sure that they have the information, make sure mom and dad has it, right? So that they understand.
And the career counselors have it.
Career counselors,
and the
yes.
coaches have it, and the teachers have it.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And that is that easy? If it was easy, it'd be,
It's not easy, but it requires effort.
Yeah.
And so if you think about ABC, I mean, that's one of our purposes, is to be a champion for the construction industry. And so you've got all of our participating contractors, and they want to be champions for the construction industry. So that's going to schools. That's so several of our programs. We have a shed program where we build sheds. The students help do that.
Yeah.
And then sell them off.
Right.
Ace Trades Day. Kids come in. Construction camps. That's something we got going on down at Clemson, where we have the experiential learning lab where students can come and put their hands on construction materials, complete tasks. We had some experiences a few summers ago where we had groups of students come in. We'd start in the prefab shop. They would build a light fixture. We would take them and the fixture out to a construction job, let them install it, turn the lights on, and it was great. Yeah, it was great.
Right.
It was great.
Yeah. If you could get hands-on with this technology, there are going to be X percent of those kids that are going to be hooked, right? I mean, it's a math problem, I would guess, but getting it in front of them is the challenge.
And letting them see start to finish, from planning to execution to the management side, and again, those professional services. So construction is not just limited to installing material, although that's an important component, and it's a big component.
Right. That's right.
But
it's way more than that.
It's way more than that.
So let's move from these high school kids up to college. So let's say that you get some kids and they want to, Chris, I'm all in, man. I want this as a career. What career paths do they have? What is there available for them if they know going right into this business, that's what I want to do? What areas can they go into?
It's no different than the high school kids, right? They're just starting from a different point. Same ability. I mean, we have college graduates that are field supervisory. I mean, if they have a passion for being out in the field, out in the elements, still working a little bit with their hands, they go that route. Right. We have others that go into a project management role, others project engineering, others through those professional services. Those business degrees are great, especially on the project forecasting, that data analytics, predictive analytics side.
Yeah. Right. Challenges. I'm going to get you out of here on this. You recently spoke at an ABC event, and I'm sorry, but I don't know exactly which one. I think they had an annual conference here recently, if I remember right, so maybe it was that one.
Yeah, 25th anniversary of our chapter.
That's exactly right, 45. And you talked about the importance of investing in the next generation.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're talking about right here. So tell me what that message was that you shared with the folks that day, and just talk about that for a second.
Well, you kind of opened up talking about my story. I couldn't open it off as a 25 years old, without a lot of folks there. So as I think about my career, there have been a lot of men and women who have invested a lot of time and energy in me.
Yes.
And helped create a passion for not only the construction industry, but just for business, for community. And, I think it's my responsibility, my duty, people like me who have had that investment in them, it's time to pass that along. Because I think our industry is worth the effort, and certainly our community is worth the effort.
Right.
And it's a great place to build a career, to be able to have an impact.
Chris, really good stuff. I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Folks, that completes the first episode of Let's Talk Construction. I hope you enjoyed it. That's Chris Moore. He is the president of Carolina Power. And be on the lookout for episode number 2. We'll see you soon.